The Center for Regional Studies at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque conducts multidisciplinary outreach that enhances the university's work through student fellowships, research, program funding, visiting scholars, digital media, and other projects. The center supports research and scholarship that increases our understanding of New Mexico, the U.S.-Mexico borderlands, the Americas, and Spain. It also facilitates the production, presentation, and distribution of books, films, lectures, recordings, and photo collections. For decades, the center has provided financial support for book projects covering a wide range of topics by authors from many disciplines. On March 14, 2019, the center hosted a reception on the UNM campus to recognize the work of some of those authors before an invited audience of the author's personal guests, plus university faculty, staff, and senior administrators. The center's director, Professor Gabriel Melendez, gave opening remarks and introduced UNM Professor Emerita of Political Science, Christine Sierra.
Center for Regional Studies is in its 30th year on campus, so in some sense this event today is a kind of anniversary moment. So we want to thank you all for helping us honor the authors and their work this afternoon.
Professor Sierra placed the author's contributions in context through her observations about the books featured at the reception.
The 5 books featured tonight directly address historical figures and events, literary and creative work, and socio-political dimensions of life in the very areas identified by the CRS mission. Wide-ranging in topics and methodologies, these books are a testament to the value of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary inquiry that CRS promotes and supports. These authors and their marvelous presentations and interpretations of people's stories and community struggles confirm that the academic enterprise must not neglect the value of the human voice in the construction of empirical evidence. I end with commending the Center for Regional Studies for supporting these scholars in their research and publication. Like the myth of Aztlán, regional studies are grounded in place, but foster ideas from the ground up that stretch far and wide. The impact of this scholarship will reach far and wide. Thank you.
Each of the authors in attendance then spoke about their book and their process of research and scholarship. In 2012, Dr. Karen R Roybal was awarded a Visiting Research Scholar Fellowship from the center to help her complete her book project.
I was really lucky to be able to work with the archivists at the Center for Southwest Research and got a chance to go through the Spanish archives of New Mexico, which included the land-grant records, which is what I was primarily interested in. And so I was able to look at those records and look at the legal testimonios, as Dr. Christine Sierra mentioned. And that is sort of what sparked the project to begin with. And so then I was able to, once I got the CRS fellowship, dive deeper into the historical background of the land grants. And I was primarily interested in women's perspective, in terms of the ways in which their families had acquired land, how the women had acquired land via their fathers and then passed down to their children, how they had preserved and maintained the land within their communities. And so it was really sort of digging through those archival records where I found very few women's voices, which wasn't necessarily surprising. But the two that I did find really struck a chord with me enough to really sort of be the impetus for the project as a whole. And I really feel that, the time as in my fellowship gave me the opportunity to really spend a significant amount of time working on that book project. And the CRS gave me that opportunity, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity. So thank you all.
Dr. Enrique R Lamadrid is a professor emeritus in UNM's Department of Spanish and Portuguese.
In 1989, Francisco Lomelí and Rudy Anaya put out the Aztlán anthology, which I was amazed to learn sold well over 7,000 copies, which for an anthology is quite extraordinary. So in contemplating this second edition, it was really great. This is going to be a second edition, expanded second edition. So we added the very first essay written about the topic, Tony Mares's, and the very last essay written, which was by Joseph Sanchez. Joseph Sanchez wrote a wonderful essay about Aztlán in the maps, in colonial maps. And there are 26 illustrations in this anthology, and there were 3 in the first. So we hope this one's going to do well. And anyway, that's Enrique on anthologies. I could go on all night. It's one of my favorite topics. Thank you.
Dr. Melina Vizcaíno-Alemán is an associate professor in the UNM Department of English Language and Literature.
So, my book, I did a lot of archival research for the book, so that's really what kind of took me outside of my sort of comfort zone and my place of familiarity. And largely my book, I think I was trying to prove something to everyone in the English department, that I could actually be a literary scholar coming from an interdisciplinary background in American studies. And the main concepts that I took up were gender and place as a way to sort of establish a genealogy of some sort, of critical regionalism. This is really a concept that I was attempting to work through to bring together my 2 primary fields of study, which were Chicano and Chicana literary cultural studies on the one hand and Southwest studies. So it became my way to sort of negotiate these 2 fields of studies in which I claim to be an expert. So thank you so much.
Dr. David V. Holtby was in-house editor, editor-in-chief, and associate director of the UNM Press for nearly 30 years.
Scholarly publishing in the year I entered it, 1978, was considered the accidental profession. I consider my work as a historian the benefit of having been in an accidental profession. I was trained as a Latin Americanist and Europeanist and did a study of social origins of the Spanish Civil War. So for 30 years, I had this wonderful tutorial at UNM Press in so many of the topics that we have heard about today. So the book itself, and this is my what they call the elevator talk. I actually wrote it out and made a postcard of it. It's the first detailed study to describe New Mexico's wartime mobilization, the military experiences of its soldiers, sailors, and Marines, and its veterans' post-war lives. That part is what I most wanted to write, and I'm very proud of it. Lest We Forget offers a poignant account of the profound changes these Americans underwent during and after the war. Their stories provide a revealing glimpse of the experiences of all Americans caught up in World War I and its aftermath. And yes, the particular does reveal the universal. I thank you for your attention.
Last of all, you can see why I'm truly humbled and honored to be a part of this group, because the scholarship that has been accomplished here through various authors is first rate. So one big last round of applause for our authors and their guests.
For more information about the Center for Regional Studies, please visit our website.